Hello and welcome to the EMP Tech Group. Back out in our shop today. Got a fun project going. It's a rack labeling project, and we're doing this rack labeling project. A couple fun things. We're doing it from start to finish. Number two, it's color rack labels, which we have not done before. So customer came to us, got a new warehouse, wanting to label it all up, and actually it's an existing warehouse, but they're getting ready to put some automation, some mobile computing in there, so they're going to need better rack labeling for all their locations. And so they came to us and asked if we could do this, and we had to think about it a little bit, but we decided to use some of our own in-house color inkjet label printing capabilities. The labels, the raw labels, produced by our label plant here in central Indiana. So die cut, special stock, made just to run through the inkjet printer. Our internal demo inkjet printer, an unwinder, a zero tension rewinder, and BarTender, being used to print all these labels out.
Yeah.
And so, George, you're in charge of this project.
Yes.
You've been working on this. So tell us a little bit about what's going on. Tell us where the data came from and how we're doing this.
Sure. So, as you said, a customer of ours came forward and said, "Hey, we need to rack label a warehouse, but we need to be color." And you had the great idea of using the inkjet. So with BarTender, designed the labels as a 3x10. We worked with the customer to get the sizing right for the font and the text and the QR code that's on there. The QR code does match the human-readable in this case. Once we got that layout set up, they gave us the location data that they had. I then took all that and formatted it in an Excel spreadsheet to print in the order we wanted to apply.
Okay.
So instead of having to just do batches, we could just grab a roll and just use that roll up continuously and not have to stop. It's a little bit faster for us.
Yeah, something we've learned over the years to print in a certain order so that when we actually get on site and install, which we're doing in this case, we're going on site and installing almost 20,000 labels.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to have them in the right order so that you could just go down the line and not have things out of order or out of sequence.
We've had one that somebody else printed the labels for, and we applied them, and we spent 4 days
just sorting out the labels, getting them in the right order. So we can avoid that pitfall because of our experience. Cool. So, so George, we're going to be on site for about a month, maybe 3 weeks or a month doing all this. Yeah, we've got the lift rented. When we went on site with the customer, some really fun things happened. We started asking questions about things they'd never thought about. Where are we going to deliver the lift? Can you get it in here? By the way, where are we going to park it and charge it every night?
Exactly.
So they had to start thinking about some things that they would not normally have thought about. Yeah. By the way, this is not running full speed. You've actually got a pause, but it just happens to be spinning a few labels out here and there.
Right. Pause is technically kind of slows it down just because it has to keep the nozzles from clogging, so it does have to keep printing. But if we unpause it, it prints at 6 inches a second. It'll do up to 8, but for quality reasons, I kept it at 6. I didn't really see the need to do it at 8 inches a second. The rewinder, because of the answer assembly, the answer arm on there will unwind as quick as the printer wants it to be fed in.
Okay.
And then the loose loop rewinder has a sensor eye down here, so when it sees the labels get to a certain point, it rewinds that portion. It keeps it no tension on the front half of the label.
People don't think about that with these color inkjets. You cannot pull on those labels in any way, shape, or form.
No, it'll smear. It gets it out of calibration. It's a mess when you do.
So there's a specialty rewinder that actually leaves no tension on that as it's printing. So the printer just thinks it's the labels are just spilling out, but we're actually rewinding them and putting a lot of tension on that rewind roll so that you get these super nice, tight rolls when you're done. And again, want to point out, beautiful lettering, white on dark blue in this case. Some of them, as you can see over there, are dark, but whatever the contrast is, customer chose QR codes. We may not have chose that if
that was their requirement.
Yeah, but they'll work and they'll scan from a nice distance. Yeah, cool.
And also, important thing we did here, because of it being a dark background, we couldn't just do black on blue for the code.
Yeah,
it wouldn't scan,
so
we made a white box.
Did a white back knockout on that too.
Correct.
Nice. Okay, and one more thing, George, you've got these totem labels that we're going to do as well, and this is kind of your idea based on our experience and what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, so the customer, one of their issues is some of their fork trucks do not obviously get up to 5 levels high or 40 feet. So they need to be able to scan from the ground level. So this totem label, which is aptly named because it goes from the bottom up in terms of rack levels.
Like a totem pole.
Like a totem pole.
Yeah, nice.
So they can scan these at ground level, and they can scan each individual bay. In this case, there's 3 bays per, or 3 locations per bay. So they can scan each of those locations from the ground level, and it just acts like it was scanned off the label.
Right, yeah. So just a little trade secret that we've learned over the years in doing this. So to recap this, we're making the raw labels, we're printing them, we got the data in the right order for the customer, we're printing them, rewinding them onto rolls. We will then take the rolls on site, have lift rental, have folks on site for weeks installing all of these for the customers. So from the very beginning to the very end, a project we're doing from top to bottom, literally, and
very little work from there.
And doing ourselves. So wanted to bring that to you, show you some of our capabilities. Color rack labeling, we've never done it before, but boy, it sure looks like a good idea for the customer in helping identify levels. So emptechgroup.com, always the best place to find us. Thanks for your time today.